Tippy time of damies, Top Cat here and welcome back to the channel. The Consecration has seen several nerfs since its introduction to the Prismatic subclass, but then recently saw some buffs added to the 3.0 subclass. So I wanted to take a look at the Pyrogale Gauntlets in order to find out how best to utilize them, what their strengths are, and how to balance them. Its perk is Concussive Flames. This is going to modify our Burning Maul super into a single high damage slam that creates 3 cyclones that will continue to scorch that target, and the Consecration Slam will also be able to create similar cyclones of flame. So we need to make a decision straight away here. Are we going to be making a super build or a melee build? I've opted to increase the melee strength as we'll get a more common usage out of this. The super is going to be amazing, but fully investing in that 200 stat I don't think is the best way to spend those stat points. As to truly make this a high yield DPS kit, we need that Roaring Flames to push out that damage even higher, and in some dungeon and raid encounters this isn't always the easiest option. Regardless of this being a melee focused build, we're just going to be running 2 pieces of the Brawler armor and 3 pieces of Paragon. For the 3rd tier of stats, we want to push those all towards Grenade to give me pretty much close to 200 melee, 100 super, 100 grenade, and 70 health, which will definitely help keep us alive in all those run and gun encounters. A base Consecration Slam now does 1190 damage. Syntheseps is still going to shine in like that big group enemy encounter, but the Pyrogales will help push up our base damage in any situation. Their base damage will now be 1654, with that little flame tornado just tickling away at their balls. With the Consecration being our main melee, we're going to be using the Bonk Hammer as the base melee. This can give us cure on kills for a little bit of added survivability. This is a little bit harder to get spun up in content that gets a little bit more difficult, but I found the Bonk Hammer was still like 1 bang in orange bars when we were negative 25 under, but when we moved past that to like negative 30, we needed a 2 bonk kill to get started. Now I use the term to get started as we are going to be using Roaring Flames. Final blows with our solo abilities or ignitions are going to increase the damage of our solo abilities, and this stacks up 3 times. For example, our base bonk has 420, smoke him if you got him. This then jumps up to 699, then 979, then 1258, doing 3 times the base damage. And this can pair beautifully with our 1-2 punch weapons, pushing this out a little bit further to 1573. There is also the Avenue of Shield Crush in the artifact. This gives us a bonus 15% melee damage and allows us to recharge it a lot faster if we have either Woven Mail, Frost Armor, or a Void Overshield. Now obviously the Solar 3.0 kit doesn't inherently have any of these, so you're going to have to let your weapon arsenal do the job for you. The perk Fever and Chill is a great way of doing this, whereby rapid precision hits with solo weapons grant us Radiant, or rapid precision hits with a stasis weapon grant us Frost Armor. The Navigator Exotic Strand Trace Rifle is a great pick this season. It's got that seasonal damage bonus, and when we shoot teammates or our enemies, is going to give us Woven Mail to help push up that melee damage. Now the world really is our oyster when it comes to good like repulsor brace weapons, but one of my favorite exotic ones to run is the Edge of Action Void Glaive that allows us to create that little bubble. This gives us overshields, and as we're running close to 200 melee stats, this is going to allow us to buff our glaive melee strength, as don't forget, glaives are now treated as uncharged melees. As we're already running Fever and Chill, we should be running Radiant Shrapnel, so when we deal sustained weapon damage whilst either Radiant or by defeating scorched targets, it's going to like send all those little firefly scorching projectiles off for a little bit more added AoE. We're using Ember of Ashes to increase our scorch stacks. This is a bonus 50% no matter where the scorch stack is coming from. We've got Eruption, so our solar ignitions have an increased area of effect. This is a 20% bonus, and it's going to give us another 10 plus melee stats. And with Ember of Char, this is going to spread Scorch to other targets. At base this is 40, but thanks to Ashes it becomes 60 Scorch. Now thanks to this little Scorch cocktail, that's going to push up our Consecration Pyro damage from that 1650-ish to the 1850-ish. We're not going to be able to get these up as often as the Prismatic subclass, Prismatic just mainlines Viagra, so you can't really compete with that, as it has 3 charges ready to go. But we are going to be able to get some back to back depending on our damage output. It's all going to be about how much we kill. We're going to be using Ember of Searing, so by defeating a scorched target is going to grant us back melee energy, and a Fire Sprite. Depending on the tier of the enemy slain, each enemy can give us between 8 to 25% energy back. I have an Orbs of Restoration, so when we pick up an Orb of Power, it's going to give me back 10% energy to our least charged ability. More often than not, this is just the melee we've used, but it will sometimes be that grenade. Now of course we've got a multi-siphon on our helmet, but I did opt to run a heavy-handed mod on our gauntlets for a more synergistic approach to getting those melees back immediately. I love the change to that Burning Maul super, giving us just that one high damage slam. This allows us to either just pop and then walk away, let them sizzle and die on their own, or let us lay further waste to them with some weapon damage as they fry. A base Burning Maul damage does 7,135 and takes about 10 seconds to use it, but the Pyrogales allows us to do 9,712 damage with just one pop. And if we have Roaring Flames going, we can push this out to 11,177. As I said at the start, this super can be good for dungeons and raids, but only in certain situations, as ideally you do want to get those Roaring Flames stacks up as often as you can, but your fire team doesn't always let you go, hey, let me save some ads, I need them pre-damage phase. They're just going to murder them. You can't rely on them for that. You got to take the initiative on yourself, and this trap becomes more of a fingers crossed. So I do believe these exotics favor more like run and gun activities like your fire team, pinnacle and conquests. We do have 100 super stats here, so we do get these up particularly fast, as it is still kind of considered like a roaming super, despite us changing it to the 1 pop. Now naturally, as this is a melee focused build, we're going to be running a hands-on mod on our helmet to increase our super regen every time we get a melee kill. In terms of staying alive, we do have that 74 base health, which gives us back 58 HP every time we pick up an Orb of Power. I try and run a recuperation mod on my kicks, but this will often make way for a double surge instead. Because of this, I'm running Ember of Mercy, so when I revive an ally, both of us get restoration, or by picking up a Fire Sprite, it's going to grant me restoration. Now there will be plenty of Fire Sprites on the battlefield, as we're using that Elemental Coalescence, whereby defeating any enemy is going to have a chance of creating us an elemental pickup. As we're on 3.0, this is going to be a Fire Sprite. These give us back 33% grenade energy, and if we pair this with Refresh Threads, it's going to grant us back 50% energy to our least charged ability. This is one of the most important perks in our artifact to help us tie together with Ember of Searing, Orbs of Restoration to feed us those melee straight back. Now for our last little bit of healing, I've chosen to use the Lustrous Plate set from Solstice. I know the event's gone, fingers crossed you got yourselves a good set, as Rapid Solar Final Blows are going to heal us, and when we get healed, it's going to give us more flinch resistance with our solar weapons, better handling and better reload speed. This is quite good as we do have low weapon stats on this kit, and this will make your gunplay a little bit better. If you can't acquire a full 4-piece set of Brawler and Paragon, I would look to instead do 2 pieces of the Last Discipline from Crucible and 2 pieces of Bushido from Pinnacle, as this will aid in both your healing and reload. Now feel free to pause here for all my mods, fragments and artifacts, but there will be a dim link in the description down below. Now I've tried a few Solar Titan builds out this season, whether it be the Messes, the Capris, Hellfire or Path of the Burning Steps, but this was the first one I wanted to show you guys, as the Consecration Slams I know are important to you Crayon Eaters. After the Prismatic nerfs, I started switching back to my original 3.0 subclasses, and I'm curious to hear how many of you guys are still mainlining that Prismatic, Spirit of Inmost, Spirit of Syntho, Consecration Slam, just fed by the 4 fragment slots. Let me know in the comments down below, make sure to thumb in if you dug it, sub if you're new, and as always, tippy time, my damies, what a time.